Hello! In this game my opponent was left without one of his pieces in the opening. After several reasonable moves my opponent greatly simplified my task of winning. So now let's watch the game. d4, e6, e4, c5. Inaccuracy. By the computer's opinion it was necessary to play b6 or d5. Bishop c4. The opponent also makes the inaccurate move. By the way, it refers to the previously studied topics, the law of mutual mistake, and Tartakover's chess scissor. Knight to d6. The idea to catch the bishop by the pawn to c4 and b5 if it will be required. For example, bishop b3, c4. In case of bishop a4, I will play b5. Instead of bishop a4, my opponent needs to play e5, the counter-attack on my minor piece. I wouldn't win the wall piece, because white can give away only the pawn. For example, c takes b3, e takes d6, b takes c2, queen takes c2, and the bishop takes d6. But my opponent, after knight d6, played bishop b3, c4, and bishop takes c4. The opponent gives away the piece. He hasn't guessed that he could play e5. White could sell the bishop for 2 pawns. Instead of it, he has sold his bishop for cheap. Knight takes c4, b3, knight d6, retreat. I have got material advantage. The next task is to realize the gotten advantage. Knight d3. Most of all my both rooks and light squared bishop need activation. I can increase the activity profitably of only one of the mentioned pieces. Now my bishop controls 2 central squares and creates a threat to win the e4 pawn. Knight to d2, f5, assuming the threat to win central pawn. And f-file will come in handy for my rook later. f3. I'm planning to exchange an e4 square, but better do it in such a way when my king is in safety, and rook on h8 can join in the game. Bishop e7, c4. Now it's time. F takes c4. F takes c4. Castle. I have managed to place my pieces good. In a short time I have to settle my knight. Castle. Rook takes f1. The trick is that I win the central pawn on e4 or capturing f5 by my rook with tempo. It depends on by what piece white will take on f1. King takes f1, rook f8, check. King g1, bishop g5. I'm resuming the threat to win central pawn on e4. After I get rid of the knight on d2, the defender of the e4 pawn. d5. Now it's time to improve my knight. Knight a6. Knight to f3, it takes d5, it takes d5. Knight to f5, moving my pieces closer to opponent's king and domesticating black squares. Knight takes g5, queen takes g5, and rook e5. The mistake, because it's not going to linger in the center. d6, rook e4. Obstinacy exacerbates his situation. It's better to move the rook back to e1. Knight to c5, rook g4. White continues to make mistakes in already bad position. Probably the idea to take advantage of his bishop, that is, taking aim at g7, blundered my opponent. There are enough defenders of g7. Queen and knight. queen e3 check, king h1, and knight takes d3. I have material advantage increased, and I'm threatening to make a fork on f2, while white has no any opportunity to create counterplay, and white resigns. So, conclusion. There is a suitable statement by Zigbert Tarash for this game. It sounds something like, your opponent puts himself in mate, you just have to wait a bit. And there are also two statements by Genrikh Chepukaitis. He was one of the strongest Blitz players in the world. The first statement is, let your opponent think, don't bother him. He will find how to make a worse move. Reasonable solution, a needle in a haystack. And second one, you need not always play well, just make sure your opponent plays poorly. That's all. See you.